Dear students of second BCom, we'll continue from where we stopped in the last class. Don Gonzalo and his servant Juanito go around the park looking for an empty bench. Since they fail to find any empty bench, they come back to the spot where the priests are seated on the bench that belongs to the old man. Juanito, seeing the priests continue to be seated there, Juanito tells his master Gonzalo, Sir, sinner, sir. No, indeed, they are still there. Who are they here? The priests who are seated on the bench on which Don Gonzalo normally sits. Don Gonzalo says the authority should place more benches here for the sunny mornings. Since the morning is sunny, everybody has come to the park. And Gonzalo is saying that the authorities should place more benches here on sunny mornings because more and more people get attracted to the park on sunny mornings. I don't find an empty bench to be seated. So when there is so much of a rush in the morning, the government should place, the authority should put more benches here for the sunny mornings in the park. Well, I suppose I must resign myself and sit on the bench with the old lady. Earlier, he had seen the bench on which the lady was seated, but he could not sit here. He did not want to share the space, share the bench with the lady, as the lady quarreled with him for frightening her birds, pigeons. But now he has no other option. He says, I have no choice now but to sit with the old lady on this bench. Well, suppose I must resign myself. What does resign mean? Accept the situation. What is the situation? Sharing the bench with the lady who is very haughty, who is very arrogant, who had the audacity to quarrel with this old man. But since he cannot find any other bench in the park, he has come to the conclusion now that he has no other option than sit with this lady on the bench. Muttering to himself, he is angry, so he is talking to himself, he is muttering to himself out of frustration, out of anger. He goes and sits at the extreme end of Mrs. Laura's bench. He doesn't want to do that, but he has no other choice. So, cursing himself, muttering to himself, talking to himself angrily, he goes and sits at the extreme end of the bench on which Donna Laura is sitting. And after sitting there, he looks at her indignantly. Indignantly means angrily. He looks at Laura very angrily because earlier there was a quarrel between both of them. He touches his hat as he greets her. So, after sitting on the bench, he has to greet her. So, he greets her in spite of himself. That means he doesn't want to greet her, but then that is courtesy. So, when he is sharing the space with someone else, it is obligation to greet the other person. So, he touches his hat as a sign of respect. He touches his hat as he greets her. He angrily, not happily, wishes her good morning. He just says good morning. Donna Laura doesn't wish him back. Instead, she is also angry with him. So she is asking him, oh, you come again. What? Here? You have come here again. 5 minutes ago, you came here and you quarreled with me. You frightened my birds. You have come back to me again to trouble me. Mr. Gonzalo, I repeat that we haven't met. Don Gonzalo cannot contain his anger. So he shouts at Laura by saying that you have no right to talk to me angrily because we have never met before. This is the first time I have met you. We have met each other. So what right have you got to talk to me like this? Talk to me angrily. Don't insult me. This is the first time I have spoken to you. Laura. Oh no, I was responding to your salute. I know you are a stranger to me. I am a stranger to you. But I am talking to you because you saluted me. You greeted me. I am answering. I am responding to your salute. Good morning. Don Gonzalo says, good morning should be answered by good morning. And that's all you should have said. See, when I say good morning to you, you should reply saying good morning. You can't tell me anything else because we don't know each other. I have spoken to you for the first time and you have seen me for the first time. So you are not supposed to tell me anything else when I greet you. When I say good morning, just say good morning, nothing else. Laura, you should have asked permission to sit on this bench, which is mine. Now Laura says then, you have made a mistake by sitting on this bench without taking my permission. Don't you know that this is my bench? Gonzalo, come on, how can you say that? The benches here are public property. These are public park where anybody can come and sit. How can you say that this bench belongs to you? Anybody can come and sit here on these benches. How can you claim that the benches are yours? That is nonsense. Laura, why? 10 minutes ago when you frightened my birds, what do you tell me? You said the priests are sitting on your bench. You yourself said that there is a bench in the park that belongs to you. If that bench belongs to you, I can also say that this bench belongs to me. Laura, you said the one on which the priests are seated was yours. Didn't you say that? Very well. Gonzalo doesn't know what to say. Very well, very well. I have nothing more to say. He cannot counter her argument. So he changes the topic by saying that, okay, enough. Very well. I have nothing more to say. I won't talk to you hereafter. Between his teeth, okay, clenching his teeth, what is it? Oh, senile old lady. He's cursing the lady by calling her senile. What does senile mean? Mentally and physically weak because of age. When one person becomes very weak, both mentally and physically, due to the old age, we call him or her senile. Now, this senile old lady doesn't know how to talk, but still she is very arrogant and haughty. She ought to be sitting at home, knitting clothes and counting her beads. Why is she in the park? Park is not the right place for her. At this age, with this kind of attitude, she should be seated at home and she should be spending her time by knitting clothes and counting the beads, nothing else. She cannot come out, she can't travel by a public bus, she can't sit in a public park because she doesn't know how to behave herself. Laura realizes that he is cursing her, so she shouts at him by saying that, don't grumble, don't mutter anymore. I know you're cursing me. Stop your curses. Stop your grumble. Don't grumble anymore. Don't grumble anymore. Stop your grumbling. Stop your cursing. I'm not going to leave just to please you. Even if you keep on muttering, even if you keep on grumbling and cursing, mind you, I'm not going to leave. I'll sit here. I have got the right to sit on this bench because this bench in the park belongs to me. Gonzalo, brushing the dust from his shoes with his handkerchief, has gone around the garden looking for an empty bench. And when he walks with so much of difficulty, you must have seen how he walks. While walking, he drags his feet. So when he drags his feet, so much of dust gets raised. His shoes are covered with a lot of dust. And now, being seated on the bench, he takes out his kerchief and cleans the shoes with the handkerchief. And he makes a general statement here. What is that? He says, if the ground was sprinkled with water a little, it would be an improvement. And he says, what are the authorities doing here? This is a public part, but it's not kept clean. It is not maintained properly. It is full of dust. If the authorities sprinkle a little bit of water here, the park would be much, much better. Now there is so much of dust, so he is blaming the authorities for not keeping the park clean. If the ground was sprinkled a little, it would be an improvement. Look at my shoes. My shoes are covered with a dust. Look at my dress, that's also covered with a dust because the authorities haven't sprinkled the garden at all, the park at all. Laura asks him with so much of surprise, do you use your handkerchief as a shoe brush? How can you clean your shoes with your handkerchief? Shoes should be cleaned with a brush. Oh, come on, how can you use your handkerchief as a shoe brush? I find it very strange. Are you mad? It's quite absurd. Gonzalo, why not? I have got the right to use my handkerchief as a shoe brush. Why should you bother? Laura can't control her anger and surprise, and she asked him again, do you use a shoe brush as a handkerchief? So she ironically asks him whether he uses his shoe brush as a handkerchief. If he can use his handkerchief as a shoe brush, that means he can use a shoe brush as a handkerchief. Do you do that? I find you very strange. Gonzalo, what right have you to criticize my action? It is my handkerchief. I am cleaning my shoes with my handkerchief. Why should you worry? Why should you bother? Just keep quiet. You have no right to criticize my action. Then Laura says, a neighbor, I'm your neighbor now. In what sense? I'm sitting with you on this bench. So when you do something bad, I, your neighbor, have the right to criticize you because you are my neighbor now. I cannot bear to see somebody cleaning their shoes with a handkerchief. I find it highly objectionable. It's very bad. So, being your neighbor now, I have got the right to criticize you. Gonzalo, Juanito, give me my book. He asked his servant to give him a book. I don't care to listen to nonsense. So he asks his servant to hand off him his book because he doesn't feel like listening to the nonsensical remarks made by Laura. Laura, oh, you're very polite. Gonzalo, pardon me, Signora, but never interfere with what does not concern you. Again, she makes fun of him by saying that, "Oh, Gonzalo, Mr. Gonzalo, you're very polite." In reply, Gonzalo says, "Sorry, pardon me, Sinora. I beg your pardon. Never, never interfere with what does not concern you. I may be polite or I may be impolite. I may be gentle. I may be rude. Don't bother. That is my right. Don't interfere with what I do. What does not concern you shouldn't bother. You should not bother about what I am doing." Laura doesn't keep quiet. She says, "Oh, I generally say what I think. When I feel like saying something, I will say I have got the right to say that. Moreover, it's a public place, Gonzalo, and more to the same effect." Gonzalo then says that, "I know you generally say what you think and you create the same impact. Whatever you say, whether you say it politely or impolitely, it will have the same impact, the same effect, or that is a negative impact. Whether you talk to somebody nicely, whether you talk to somebody angrily, and you create the same kind of negative impact. So I don't want to listen to what you say. Just keep quiet. I want to read something. Give me the book, Juanito." Juanito hands over the book to him. Juanito takes a book from his pocket, hands it to Mr. Gonzalo, then goes by the right. Mr. Gonzalo, casting indignant glances at Donna Laura. Now Gonzalo has got the book with him. He keeps on casting means giving, indignant, angry glances at Donna Laura. He has got the book in his hands, but in between, he looks at Laura angrily and he puts on an. So, how does he read the book? By putting on an huge pair of glasses. He's an old man. Without wearing glasses, he can't see anything. So, he takes out an enormous pair of glasses, takes from his pocket a reading glass. So, what does he do? He takes out not the spectacles but a reading glass. Enormous pair of glasses, adjusts both to suit him and then opens his book. So he has got an enormous, huge pair of glasses, unlike the spectacles that we normally wear. And Laura keeps on looking at this and finds everything funny and odd and strange. Laura makes fun of him once again by telling him that, "Oh, when I saw you taking out the glasses, I thought you were taking out a telescope because you have a huge pair of glasses. For a moment, I wondered whether you were taking out telescopes. I thought you were taking out a telescope." Gonzalo cannot control his anger. He stares at her and asks her again, "Was that you? Did you speak to me? I have asked you not to talk to me, but still you have got the guts to talk to me?" Laura, "Oh, your sight must be keen." She doesn't bother about what he is saying. She continues to express what she feels and she says, "I hope your eyes are very keen, sharp. Your eyesight must be very good." Gonzalo says, "Oh, don't laugh at my eyesight. My eyes are sharper, keener than yours. Your eyes are weak in comparison with my eyes." He gives it back. Gonzalo says, "Don't make fun of me. I am very sure that my eyes are sharper than your eyes." Laura says, yes, yes, evidently, very clearly, I can make out by looking at the kind of glasses that you're using. Again, makes fun of him. Gonzalo. As are hairs and partridges. Then Gonzalo tells her, if you have got any doubts about my eyesight, the sharpness of my eyesight, you can talk to, just ask the hares, rabbits, partridges, a kind of birds. You ask the rabbits and birds. Laura gets a doubt. She asks him, what do you talk about hares and partridges? Are you a hunter? Do you go hunting? Do you really hunt? Is it your hobby? Gonzalo, I did, yes, yes, I did hunt in the past. Not now. Even now, not every day, but sometimes I go hunting. Why do you ask me whether I hunt? I am. I used to hunt. I did hunt in the past. Even now, if not every day, some days, at least once a week or twice a week, I go hunting. Laura can't believe it because this man is very old. She says, oh yes, of course, I can understand. Oh, I can believe that. Oh yes, yes, of course, you should be. Oh, you're a hunter. Gonzalo, yes, madam, Signora, every Sunday I take my gun and dog, you understand, and go to one of my estates near Arawak. Arawak is a place, and kill time. So Gonzalo says, every Sunday, every week, especially on Sundays, I go hunting, I take my gun and dog, and you understand, I got so many estates, and I go to one of my estates near Arawaka, place called Arawaka, and I kill time. So what does he mean by saying kill time? I pass time, I spend my time. He uses the word kill to say that he spends his time by hunting. And Lara takes it literally. So when you say kill time, you're not killing time, that means you're spending your time. Laura takes it literally and again laughs at him by saying that, yes, yes, kill time, I know. You can kill only time. You can't kill any animal or birds because you are very old. Indirectly, she's saying that you can kill just time, nothing else.